Coffee feels like it doesn't count. It's a no-brainer. Start your day off every single morning. I love my coffee in the morning, and I actually love coffee at 2 p.m. too. And if we're counting, say, things around food, we don't need a plate, no forks. And guys just have to they just can drink some black coffee and off we go. Now, some of the drinks on the menu here uh, can carry a lot more calories than the lunch that comes 5 hours later. And almost nobody pays attention to the calories either because a cup doesn't read like a meal does with a menu or a nutrition label either. And so you don't visibly see what it looks like when you're actually consuming something at Starbucks. And this is the most repeated order that you'll make at all week long, which is important. 5 mornings a week, sometimes 6 or even 7 if you go to Starbucks every single day. Same drink. It reminds me of one guy, Bill. I actually saw him. He was a client way back in my personal training days. And then I'd worked there, and oh my goodness, he would just always be at Starbucks at all random times of the day. I'd see him pop in. Now, by the end of this episode, you'll know exactly what to order at Starbucks and what to not have at all, because it has a lot more calories and challenges than you actually think. No matter which drive-thru you're going through, we can use this for any type of coffee, whether it's Panera, Caribou Coffee, Dunkin's, or even just a local shop. Welcome to Driven for Health. This is Coach Brian Parana, episode 146. Coffee runs every single day in my house. That kettle gets turned on and it ends up running. And we do a French press in my house. It just tastes better. It's a little bit faster, easier, and potentially higher quality. You get the fresh ground beans. We have this Texas Lola Savannah pecan roast that is just really good. But if you're like my guy Neal, it's something that he does every single week. It's like his second home, and he makes that same decision every day. And what we can do is black coffee literally is 5 calories at most, and that is an easy way out. But as soon as you start adding the simple syrups, the milk, the whipped cream stacked on top, like a frappuccino, that is like a milkshake. Hundreds of calories more than you think. It does taste good. You're like, God, it's like 200. Well, it's more like 450. And nobody is paying attention to that. And we're certainly not talking about blood panels or labs. We're just going to be going over what to order at specific restaurants to help you stay healthy, stay on track with your health goals. And I'm even going to give you a tiered list today. 3 drinks that you should not order and 2 that you should, and exactly what to say when you go to the window as well. We don't want to have to think too hard when you go to make orders at these places. You look at the nutrition label, you then you look at what's in it, and then it just becomes maybe 1 or 2 different options that you do there. I am a big fan of doing an Americano or a dark roast with a splash of heavy cream, and I like it hot, but I have my taste buds. They can only handle warm bean water. I always have to get ice cubes in it, just like 2 or 3 to cool it off a little bit. And I have to watch how I order because then they don't know. They try and make it lukewarm. It's like, no, I still want it hot. I just don't want it coming straight off the pipe, so to speak, the heat. So let's rank 5 real orders, 1 to 10. 10 means order it right now. 1 means you do walk away, do not look back. All 5 are real drinks and food off of the menu. Now, we ranked by real numbers, not how they sound when you say them off the tip of your tongue. And we want to make sure that you are not getting sidetracked by marketing or anything else that might be added into these things. Now, first up, a 2 out of 10, maybe even a 1 is a Frappuccino. This menu item can run 400 to 500 calories. It's straight up from the nutrition menu itself. And I would advise you to look at that. Or in the app, they'll have the calories listed for you. And that's even before you start adding a whipped cream or having a larger size upgrade, like a venti, a mega milkshake. Before you get too carried away, the amount of syrups, sugars, fats that are in there are the multipliers of that. And they taste so good, but they can be more calories than most people have for a snack and maybe even a meal. So we don't want to order these at all, ideally, because it costs too much effort and time to have to make sense of how to fit it into the day. Now, the roast on the frappuccino, it's a milkshake wearing a coffee costume, right? The whipped cream on top isn't hiding a thing. Nobody's even ordered one of these because they were craving coffee. They want the sugar, the sweets, and that taste that is in there. A 7 out of 10. The skinny latte, but with almond milk. Or, yeah, almond milk ends up being 30 calories in a cup, whereas soy goes to about 70. Then we get into fat free, which is 90. Oat milk, 2% milk, or about 100 to 120 calories in a cup. Whole milk can be 150. Same thing with heavy cream. It starts to really multiply the calories for how much it is. Ask for it by name, the skinny latte, and you should be under 100 calories. And this will help you save a lot more calories for the rest of the day. And having a beverage that has 100 calories in it isn't too big of a deal. That's okay. It's when we have 200 or 300 and it becomes, say, 10% of your total calorie intake. Well, this is your sweet treat for the day in a sense. We should not be having something else here because it will cost you a lot more effort and time in the gym. To say 400-calorie workout, that's about an hour of good heavy lifting and maybe about 40 minutes of you're working pretty hard, burning a sweat. Because most of the time, say calorie wise in cardio land, you're going to burn 8, maybe 10 calories a minute at best. And so when you do some math, it ends up being 80 per 10 minutes or, about 450 calories for a good cardio burn, unless you're really pumping it at interval or something like that. So a skinny latte can help and manage those overall calories there. A It's not a consolation prize here. We can have a nitro or a straight espresso underneath that still has a real kick to this. And the almond milk in the skinny latte, it doesn't, it gives it that milky, creamy like taste. The same skinny word works on almost anything in there on the board. It's a key word to be able to say and have there. It's dressed up like a treat, but it's more like a black coffee in a sense. And that's the trick when you say the word skinny. A big miss, the 3 out of 10, is the egg and cheddar protein box. Someone got this the other day and said, "Hey, did you take a peek at the fat content here? It's 460 calories and 22 grams of fat. For simple math, it's 9 times 22. So we'll go 10 times 22. For simple math, it's 220 minus 9, which is 211. Divide that by 460. That's like 45 to 50% of the calories are coming from fat. You have the eggs that have the yolk, and the cheddar has a lot of fat in it too. And there could be some other things. Sure, there's some grapes in there, but there might be a honey, some peanut butter as well that can be doing some heavy lifting here with that. So the on the front of the label, it's going to say protein, but you have to pay attention to the amount of fat that's associated with those protein calories because that's going to cause a lot of challenge for you to get a lean protein option and not have so much fat calories along the way. Now, we can go with an egg white bite. Is going to be a lot better of a choice there, and we want to make sure that it works for you. So that is going to be a great comparison there, to have the Savita eggs with just two egg whites, and that will work out really, really well for you too. So, and yeah, we got someone in the comments over here. Yeah, the sugars are outrageous in a lot of the drinks that we have here, and a lot of them will have 50 grams of sugar in them, which is basically a daily amount, anyways, that you would want to limit it to, and it's a really big challenge. Now, a another one that is starting to come up. I'm recording August 14th, and the intention is going to go out August 15th for this show. Pumpkin Spice Latte is coming right around the corner. It's probably a week or three out, to be honest. I know it's right around September. My wife has absolutely loved it in the past, and she'll occasionally get it now, not so much as she once did in the past, but this one's a pretty heavy handed calorie drink, too. 2% milk, whipped cream. You've got a lot of other things going on there, and it can really stack the calories. And it can run around 400 calories as off the nutrition facts there. It's the same range as a cafe mocha there. It's sitting right next to it in terms of it's being calorie dense and all. And order 5 of these across a normal work week, or even 2 weeks, it's almost 2,000 more calories that you're drinking and not actually eating. And again, we add that whipped cream in there. It can get, because they make it of real whipped cream, which is tasty and delicious. I love whipped cream, but it's going to be a high fat whipped cream, which then piles it on. Now, this is the last one on the list. 9 out of 10, an Americano with some egg white bites. That's the power combo. Just like I said earlier, the egg white bites will be the thing to help you make sure that you do it. We have some really good comments. Put me in charge and I'll take on all this corporation. We have someone in the Instagram comments, because I do live shows. If you ever want to know what's going on, I broadcast live on these recordings, so you can occasionally see me pop on. And if you do, I'd love to have you jump in and chat, because I'm usually doing a podcast of sorts if you see an Instagram live or Facebook or any of them, YouTube and such. Now, going back to the Americano and the egg white bite, order both together and you'll be under 200 calories, 12 grams of protein, and this will start to really help you in your first meeting. Get a little bump in protein, not as much as I normally say, 40 to 50 grams in a meeting, but this can at least give you a kickstart to get you through the first meeting of the day, and then you need something else that is there. All right. Nothing about this order is about spending a lot of extra time in line or anything. We can custom build this in the app, and then it'll be ready for you to go. And they'll just be sitting on the counter ready for you. Now, quick recap. The Frappuccinos are not great. A protein box, we want to make sure that you have ideally 20 to 30 grams of protein with 10 grams of fat would be how you could score the protein. And maybe you can just either just eat it as is because you are hungry and you just were unprepared. Then you could have lower fat at your next meal. That could be a good conservation to manage that there. We've got the pumpkin spice latte, cafe mocha. Just they're going to be a lot, but a skinny anything can help quite a bit. That ends up being really good. Some refreshers in there too. We can throw those in, and we can wrap up if we're still doing with coffee, an Americano with egg white bites. So that would be the best thing. But honestly, we probably just go with an Americano. I'm going to put some heavy cream in it because it just tastes so much better for me, and I'm good to go. And I'll just fit the creamer in my day. It's not really that big of a deal. But I'm going to have food with me otherwise, because I can get more value for the $3 or $4 that it's going to be for with with getting the actual amount of money spent even, right? So when we pull up Americano, egg white bites. That's what we want, and that will get your day kick-started. Now, there's a lot of other things on there, like cake pops, there's croissants, there's sandwiches, and we really have to be conscious of the sandwiches are going to have a lot of calories and carbs, and they're just going to be easy tasting carbs too, right? That's what the croissants are there. um my wife has done the egg with bacon and ham sandwiches and stuff before, but I usually skip it. I honestly, I eat at home, and then I will then or take stuff with me to be planned and prepared so that I don't have to work so hard with managing my overall calories. That's a big one for me. I do not want to have to manage calories and make it even harder for myself to have to work. So the big thing, we want to make sure that Starbucks is going to market you. They've done really well, obviously, and since their inception in what, the 70s or so, and they've everywhere. I enjoy a Starbucks beverage, but I just skip the food, and I'm usually going with a coffee. Occasionally, when I personally will have a nut, something else, it will be when we're on a trip, and Amber and I are together, and we want to try one of the specials. The horchata or the pistachio or the ube or any of those fun drinks. Occasionally I do something, but it has to be more of a special treat. It's not my go-to, and I don't, as I said, I end up just French pressing in the morning and just putting a splash of oat milk in because that just tastes good, and it's a third of the price as well. And when you have four kids, it adds up over time, right? A $3 to $4 drink, or you have your $8 to $10, $12 bag of whole beans that you can grind up and turn into multiple servings and stuff. So other ones that I do like, cold brews. We could do a little bit of foam in there, but they have protein foam now, right? And with that, you just really have to pay attention to the extra cost for the amount of protein that you're going to get into it. That's a big thing to is getting the extra 15 or 20 grams of protein coming from the protein foam at Starbucks going to be worth, say, a $3 upcharge. If to you it is, then great. To me, it won't be. That's just not a good return on the drink, the experience as is. Nitro brews, things like that. Those are excellent. Okay. Pour over coffees, excellent. These are going to have literally, it's 5 calories in the cup for black calories. So it's basically zero, right? We'll just round down, right? What ends up, so going into the fast five, what ends up being the lowest calorie beverage or lowest calorie anything on there that has some caffeine? Well, the nitro brew is going to be the biggest one. It's going to pack a power punch because of the way it's coming out with the nitro in it. And man, it is smooth and it is good. Number two question: what's the best item in the food case that almost nobody orders? Well, the rolled and steel cut oats is about 160 calories. It's plain oats. You certainly could add the nuts that are there, or you could have your own berries or a piece of fruit, a banana that you brought, and that could help hold you over. Certainly, there's not a lot of protein in there, and that's okay if we have more protein at other meals, but it could be a good option and just keep the snackies down in a sense. Question three of the fast five: what's a salad protein grab if the egg bites are sold out? Well, the tomato mozzarella focaccia. It's 360 calories, about 15 grams of protein. So it's a real food. It's not a pastry there. And that's important. So we have to pay attention to just looking at that. Again, I'm not going to Starbucks for food. I'm going for beverage personally. Number four, what do the caramel macchiato and the chai latte, how are they on it? Well, they're right in the middle. They have roughly about 250 calories, so they're still pretty steep in terms of calories. Certainly, you could find ways to make them skinny with less pumps, and that could really help out a lot. but we're not going to be in a disaster zone either coming out of that if we just did a skinny caramel macchiato with low-fat milk or almond milk. That could really reduce the calories by 100 and get us back down to definitely under 200 calories. Number 5, is there a real way to filter this whole menu instead of wandering around and guessing which one you should get? Well, on the Starbucks, you literally can filter the menu by protein or fiber or fat or sodium before you even step to the counter. So you can literally look at this, and it's a resource that most people never look at or pay attention to. You can find it in the app, you can find it online on their website. So that's the Fast 5. Now, as we pull away out of the Starbucks drive-thru, or we grabbed a coffee and we're on our way out, it's just really important to know that the coffee can be part of your jump start in the morning, but it doesn't have to be so many calories. Because if you got a croissant sandwich with a frappuccino, that's 1,000 calories almost, and that's really going to be 50% of your calories for the day, basically. And that ends up being a big challenge. Now, if you're looking for some help in how to order, I have an eating on the go guide. I'd love for you to see. It's go.brianprana.com/eating on the go guide. It's one word there. So you'll be able to get that. It'll be in the show notes as well. And you can download it and get yourself some Starbucks and make sure you stay on track. The last one was Chipotle. The next episode is going to be Panera. There's Subway. There's dozens of fine dining, fast casual, on the road, at the airport, all sorts of different ways to be able to do it. So you either go to the website, or if you see this on on a clip or something, then just comment, on the go, and I can get that guide over to you. Now, if you're struggling with trying to figure out how to get things to happen for you and actually make progress and lose real weight, then that's what the Call to Rise is all about. On the Call to Rise, it's a 100-day fat loss challenge, guys. It's time to step up and be the leader that you need for yourself and actually implement. That's what we do, is we take action and implement on the things that I've been teaching here. And it's nothing new. It's the basics done really well for your individual lifestyle, regardless of how hard things are, how challenging things are. And we go through the 5 pillars. The call, which is your identity, being that leader and that legacy, and stepping into the parent, father role, and a husband and all that. We've got the forge, which is the exercise. Let's burn body fat, belly fat, and build muscle. The fuel, which is nutrition, huge amount of eating the right foods at the right times and the right amounts to help us lose fat and even overcome chronic illness if you're challenged with that. The code is the way you think, your mindset. It's all here. Can't tell you how much I talk on mindset to help get people to think and see opportunities differently. And lastly is a brotherhood. I had something just the other day from a new guy that came in, and he just really appreciates that there are other men that are driven, they're successful, they have kids, they've got businesses, they've got careers, they're doing their thing, but they've struggled in the area of health, of body weight, and chronic illness. And having other guys that are focused on it and actively working toward it is super important for them to be able to hold accountable. So we all rise up together. If this series makes sense, share it with someone if they can gain some wisdom from it. And I'd love for you to leave a review on Apple, Spotify. I read every single one. If you have a question or a restaurant that you want to see on the next 20 days, they're not all set in stone, but we've got Brian@brianprana.com. You can email me and just literally ask, and I'll be happy to do one on you. So the next one's up on Panera. It has a very, in quotations, healthy reputation that you might have to take a second look at there. And I will leave that as the teaser for the next show. Thank you for coming on this episode of Driven for Health. Train hard, eat smart, and I'll catch you on the next one.